Hi, welcome to this video about Brain Damage, a touch mixer by Error Instruments. I think Brain Damage is designed to process audio signals, but I've managed to process CV signals with it as well. And in this video I will just show you the basic workflow of this module, as what you can do with it really comes down to what you send into its inputs. And once again, many thanks to Error Instruments for sending me this module. So let's get started right away. To the right of Brain Damage, I have a Braids clone, and I've gone ahead and connected the output of Brain Damage to the FM input. Now I'll connect a sine wave LFO to the first input on Brain Damage. And as you can see and hear, nothing happens. You really need to touch this touch plate here for something to happen. If you don't touch anything, nothing you send in will get through to the output. As you can see, there are 4 inputs labeled 1 to 4, and these numbers are also next to the touch plate here. And basically, whenever you touch one of these outer edges next to the number, the according input will reach the output, and normally none of the other signals that you send in will be mixed into the output. And you can see when I touch this touch plate more near the center, you get more or less of the LFO that I'm sending into the first input going to braids. Now, to demonstrate this a little bit better, I'm going to connect a bipolar square LFO to the second input on Brain Damage. And if I now touch the outer edge of the touch plate here, you'll hear what this LFO is doing. Now when I start moving my finger to the middle here, these two LFOs start to get mixed in sort of unpredictable ways. You can also touch these solder points here on top. These are also connected to the 4 inputs. Next, I'm going to connect a unipolar saw wave LFO to the third input on Brain Damage. And let's just touch the outer edge here. You can hear when I change the speed of this LFO that we're really only hearing its influence on braids, and none of the other LFOs are getting through. But as soon as I start touching the center here, now I'll connect an audio rate sine wave to the 4th input on Brain Damage. And you can hear its influence by touching the outer edge next to where 4 is labeled here. And now you can start mixing these just by moving your finger across the touch plate here. Now as you can see, there's also a volume knob here. When I turn this down, the output of brain damage is muted. There's also a CV input for this volume control. And to demonstrate how this works, I'm just going to connect a looping envelope from the QEG here to the volume CV input. You can see the rate at which it is looping here. Now when I touch brain damage, perhaps you'll notice something strange, and that is that the volume of the output of brain damage is actually being attenuated whenever there's a positive voltage sent into the CV input here. Now this doesn't make a lot of sense unless of course you start running audio signals through this mixer, and then you can use this to sidechain the output to your kick drum. So let's quickly patch up something to demonstrate this. Now I've routed a few VCOs into the inputs on brain damage, and the output is just going to the mixer. And you can hear that by touching this touch plate here. And moving around. That the different VCOs are mixed together in different ways. I'm not sure if you can see this, but when I touch this plate here that I've routed a chord to from braids, if I just touch this with my fingertip, the volume is rather low, but when I increase the amount of skin that's in this corner here, the volume goes up. The same goes for the other sides, of course. But from the moment you touch too much of the center plate, you start mixing in the other VCOs. Of course, you can go tapping around. Create these rhythmic stutters. But let's add a kick drum to this patch. I'm triggering this kick drum with a saw LFO. And I've melted this saw LFO, and I'll just connect this to the volume CV input here on brain damage. And as we saw before, when the voltage you send in here is positive, and by the way, it does not react to negative voltages anyway, but when the voltage that you send in here goes up, the volume goes down. And you can use this as a sort of pseudo sidechain compression. So this can be interesting for live performances. So this was my rather short but focused video for the error instruments Brain Damage, Touch Control CV and Audio Mixer. I hope you learned something from this video or that you got inspired by it. Thank you very much for watching. Until the next time. Bye.